Hello everyone, my name is Rob Linus, and in this first video segment, I want to share one aspect of our biblical leadership course that stood out to me. It was difficult to narrow this just to one aspect because there were a lot of things that we covered that really resonated deeply with me. If I'm to narrow this down, I'm going to say that the concept or the principle of influence is the thing that I want to take away. I thought Dr. Kimball's talk from the CU Lead Conference, where he spoke from Hebrews 13:7, was great. And I've gone back to that several times during our assignments. The need for us as leaders to influence the world by articulating biblical truth. We need to be in the Word. We can only pour out of ourselves what we take in. And at this point in my life, I was really struck by the second point that he made, which was that influential leaders are reflective about the outcome of their life, and just thinking about how purposeful we need to be, how we want it to count, to matter for God's glory. We've got to work with intentionality, and really just thinking about that verse in Hebrews 13:7, where it talks about the leaders were to consider the outcome of their ways. And that just really just that's continued to resonate with me and make an impact, and really thinking about how my productivity matters and just living with intentionality. And then finally, we're to be living out our faith. That verse said to be that the leaders should have their faith imitated, right? We're not perfect, but setting an example for those around us, our family, our coworkers, our co-laborers. So there's so much there. There was a quote in that section where he talked about influence is the fruit of relational trust. And that really brought in a couple of other factors, that relationship and trust. We have to have integrity. We need to build trust, be credible, capable, so we can influence others for the kingdom. For the second part of our presentation here, for my leadership essay, I chose to look at Malfer's definition of Christian leadership. And Christian leaders are servants with credibility and capabilities who are able to influence people in a particular context to pursue their God-given direction. As I thought about that, I broke the definition into various components, beginning with the servant leader. As a servant leader, I'm showing humility and battling pride that so often gets in the way. I need to view others as more important than myself, and using Jesus as an example, thinking about the Philippians 2 passage where he left heaven and all that was behind him to come being a sacrifice for us, to provide a way for us to find forgiveness and salvation. We need to, as Christian leaders, we need to make sure that we're treating people with value. People are image bearers of God, have great value, and not just a means to an end. We want to see people succeed and move toward their own God-given gifts, and that's why that is so important, because that value just makes that important. As a Christian leader, I need to be credible and capable, to be excellent in my efforts, and we need to do that in what we do. We should be experts in our fields and need to operate with integrity, building trust with the people we lead. And this comes, from our own time spent in Scripture and with the Lord. We can only pour into our relationships what's getting poured into us. Can't give from empty wells, right? You can't draw water from empty wells. So we should be influencers as leaders. I talked about Kimball's talk in the first part of this. And again, this comes from relationships. We need to be purposeful in our efforts, in our self-management, so we can be effective and productive. There's so much from our class that comes together in this definition: being productive, being worthy of being imitated, thinking about the future with purpose, and working with intention. So regardless of the context, whether secular or in ministry, we are living and working in such a way that we're leading others, influencing their lives towards God. If they're unsaved, that we're living out the Great Commission in the workplace. And if in the context of church or ministry, we're helping those we lead steward their God-given gifts, abilities, and possessions and opportunities, all for the glory of God. So that ties all back to the definition that Malthus gave, and I think really just kind of sums up a credible reality and philosophy of leadership. Thanks.